we are officially back with another installment of obscure Corey Feldman movies. This time delving into one of the dude's lesser-known collaborations with Disney, of course after leaving his mark as a kid with Fox and the Hound. But now, well, it's the 90s. And we're on TV as part of the not-so-magical world of Disney's made-for-TV features. A feature that, it's more than a little odd, to say the very least, especially for essentially being a Lord of the Flies ripoff. Now, everyone knows exactly what movie I'm talking about here. 1990's Exile. A film where we see an assorted bunch of teens join an exile expedition over summer, chauffeured by literally the worst teacher in America, perhaps the world. I mean, this moron hires an obvious villain to charter an obviously piece of shit plane for a bunch of teens, who he then maroons on an island all alone. Though, Exile never really does get as harsh or real as something like Lord of the Flies does, but at the same time, it doesn't really take too long for things to go completely off the damn rails. For a Disney movie of the week, it's hard to pinpoint the reasoning behind this one. Like, it both feels expensive and cheap at the same time. In fact, it also feels ambitious yet lazy simultaneously as well, and overall it's just kind of disjointed. I mean, I honestly thought that Exile was like based on one of their attractions or something. I thought this was like another Tower of Terror, or, Haunted Mansion, or God dang Country Bears. But, it's not. In turn, it's basically just a way to get these young teens on screen, I guess. And speaking of the teens, well, we did get one hell of a young cast, all of which have worked for Disney or NBC in some fashion before. Corey Feldman may be the biggest star here, playing Shink. You see? He plays a troubled teen who's addicted to, top-notch early 90s Reggie, as we blatantly see during the opening credits. In a Disney movie. Unprecedented. And he actually gets a little arc here in the film. Eventually, Feldog decides to give up his dope, along with the group's only working lighter for some reason. And he even finds like this giant random bag of dope on the beach, but then he just throws it back. But also a sad reminder that, in real life, Feldman was going through some serious addiction issues that would derail his acting career for a bit there after this. But hey, in Exile, Feldman stars along Sarah Buxton, at least, for the first time, as they both appear again later in Rock and Roll High School Forever as love interests. Oh, yeah, and Buxton would also appear with Corey Haim in The Amazing Fast Getaway 2, officially making Sarah Buxton part of the Two Corys Rogues Gallery of Women, an official Two Corys Babe-arino. And damn, Sarah Buxton, am I right? So aside from them two, the other notable actors we get here are the underrated character actor Kirsten Warren, who was, is, and always will be a welcome presence on my screen. Aside from stuff like Saved by the Bell, The College Years, and Independence Day, well, I always remembered her fondly for this strange little Dwight Yoakam rodeo clown action thriller, Painted Hero. Check out my review next. And here in Exile, well, she gets a little to do amidst, this literal giant teen ensemble. Honestly, the worthwhile actors we get here, they don't really get too much time to shine because, yeah, there's a lot of bizarre subplots and a lot of just straight up minor characters. But more on that in a bit. You kind of get what I mean, though, here. Like, perhaps the biggest star at the time in Exile, well, aside from Feldman, was Michael Stoyanov, who that same year had the premiere of Blossom. He is on screen a lot here, but he's kind of pointless. If anything, he's like a light comedic fodder. Sorta. He never takes off his Exile shirt, so that was one thing. But the character that gets the most to do and the most on-screen time is the team's appointed leader, Dave, played by Christopher Daniel Barnes, who the year previous voiced Eric in the Disney classic The Little Mermaid, and he went on to do a lot of iconic roles as well in voice acting, but also in film, as he was in two flawless 90s staples in both of the Brady Bunch movies. Absolutely love those flicks.
Clowns never laughed before.
And from the look of his hair here, he was apparently fronting Tears for Fears or some shit as well. And with all the obvious Lord of the Flies influences, we actually get a cast member from Lord of the Flies. Here, this guy named Chris Furr, he didn't do much. He was only in like 3 movies. And actually, he grew up about 2 hours from me, which is strange to find out. And so seeing that, he did spend a lot of time marooned on an island in 2 separate film productions, the experiences could not have been any more different, I'm assuming. As an Exile, the dude gets a bizarre subplot where he befriends some monkeys. and he kind of bonds with them and goes a little insane while trying to protect them or something like that. I don't know. It's like this animal preservation thing that just pops up out of nowhere. Like this dude even builds a sling and starts practicing because he feels he needs it to protect the monkeys. What the hell? And again, he didn't do much after Exile. Well, aside from being tweaked out on some podcast telling absolute lies about Corey Feldman.
The Disney movie. I did a Disney movie with Corey Feldman, who got me strung out on heroin at the tender age. Corey Feldman stuck a needle in my arm.
Talk about that.
I will talk about it.
Anyways, other than that, we get an assortment of teens that didn't really make a mark, and a lot of them actually were featured on stuff like 21 Jump Street. In fact, it was some creatives behind 21 Jump Street that got this movie made, so I'm guessing they had a plan. They knew the casting directors and agents and quickly gathered whatever kids they could for this weird little movie of the week, or I don't know. It's just all so weird. And, as for the more bizarre moments of Exile, well, I can't help but feel that those elements were just forced in. Because while the film feels predictable throughout, I have to admit, it consistently surprised me and was far more adult than possibly any other Disney movie ever made. Not only do we get on-screen drug usage in the opening credits, but also just a day into the kids getting stuck on the island, a teenager drowns off-screen. Also, the pilot and the teacher go back for help, right? That's when they leave the kids alone. And the plane crashes, and the pilot and the teacher both seemingly get killed. Again, off-screen. Then it turns out the plane wreckage was washed ashore, and the kids are able to raid it just before it gets washed away during a thunderstorm. Off screen. And that's not the least of it. I mean, the drug use, the teen death, a Disney movie, yeah, it's a bit much, but it is nothing compared to the totally inappropriate conversations we get between the guys and the more, let's say, underage women here.
You're not talking about my sister. Please.
No. Not for a couple of years.
Yeah, until she rolls over.
But, I don't know, this being the House of Mouse, they decide to up the ante and have literally one of the most uncomfortable scenes I have ever bared witness to. No joke. Check this out.
Will you kiss me?
How old are you?
Well, I'm old enough. There are women in third world countries my age who have babies.
Why don't I find that reassuring? I could go to jail.
There's no jail on this island.
Be good.
Why? I like you. It's not like we're gonna do anything. What do you think's gonna happen? I'm gonna get grounded?
Why? What was the point of this scene? Ugh, I gotta go take a shower. I'll be right back. Enjoy a word from our sponsors.
Yo, this is MC Tone Low, and now you can reach me live and direct on my brand new Funky Cold Medina hotline. It's easy, just pick up your phone and call. And if you're one of my lucky randomly selected callers, you get to talk to me, Tone Low.
Okay, I'm back. But we still have some more stuff to talk about here, as another highly inappropriate dynamic happens in this movie. The kids realize someone else is on the island, right? And eventually find it's the crazed pilot. You see, the plane did crash, but the pilot survived. Sadly, the teacher of the year did die, though, of course, off screen. But this pilot dude is not who they expected, as Feldman quickly puts together that the pilot is a drug runner, hence the giant bag of dope that he threw back into the ocean, Although that's not the least of anyone's worries, as this pilot guy has a taste for underage flesh.
You may not like me now, girl, but we could be on this island for a long time. You're gonna learn to like me.
So in the end, the group comes together to hunt down the pilot after he kidnaps Sarah Buxton, all leading to a silly-ass yet welcome finale. Feldman utilizes his recently discovered hunting skills, and the kids go all a little mad for a moment. They set up a few traps and corner the guy, all armed with sticks, while this guy has a gun. But luckily for us, our monkey protector has finally mastered his homemade sling and brings on total destruction. Mind you, this whole thing with the pilot coming back and being a threat and all that, it happens in like the last 15 minutes of the film, and it's kind of jarring. But they manage to capture the guy, and then they keep him in a makeshift cage till they're rescued. You know, we get a voiceover near the end of the film to wrap things up. I'm guessing they'll be rescued soon, and, you know, the film will be over any minute now. Or not. That's right. The kids are not rescued by the end of the film and are totally on their own and are totally not going to survive on this island much longer. Early on in the film, they make a pact to not turn into cannibals, but, you know, this pilot over here, he's going to start looking like a loaded pepperoni pizza bagel in like 2 days. I was completely shocked by this ending. I mean, I'm telling you, this flick just kept surprising me up until the end credits. Yeah, so this is just an odd one. And you know how I mentioned that I think all the weird stuff was forced in? Well, I think that's because this was originally meant to be a TV pilot, again, from the 21 Jump Street guys. So they had a plan for this pilot, but either due to time or scale or some top floor suits, you know, passing down some mandates, they decided during production to make it into a TV film, hence the protecting monkeys and the underage influence. So in turn, we get subplots like the kid randomly guarding monkeys he stumbles upon. You see, something happens with Corey early on in the movie that kind of ties into the animal message here. He wants some real food, I suppose, so he goes out hunting and he kills a wild pig. And then he feels really, really bad about it. He winds up giving this pro-animal speech and says he's not going to eat any meat anymore, and, you know, everyone do what you want, but he can't hurt anything that feels. You know, at least they're aiming for some kind of message here.
I did it, okay? I killed him. But I won't do it again. There's fruit and water and clams, and I don't mind the fish. But I will not kill something that I think can care. You guys can do it if you want to. That's your decision. But I will not eat it, and I will not do it.
Throw some animal preservation stuff out there, which I do appreciate. I love animals. And in fact, I help rescue dogs all the time out here in South Texas. If you find it in your heart to donate to the cause, any amount, I have a link down below. You can help directly. I'll put it on screen as well. Do it, staunch gang. Corey Feldman would actually have a few notably similar roles, like wandering around the woods in Exile really reminded me of Teddy and Stand By Me, or especially surviving in the wilderness against bad guys with booby traps and whatnot. Well, that's exactly like the stuff we would see in Edge of Honor just a year later. Edge of Honor and Exile actually, well, they would make for a fun little Feldog double feature if you have no life. I always thought this was such an outlier as far as Disney TV movies go, and believe me, that says a lot. There is some weird stuff. But it was clearly inspired by Lord of the Flies, although it never fully commits, and is basically completely forgotten. Honestly, I have no idea why I thought this was, you know, part of some Disney theme park attraction, but, you know, for what it is, it's hard to find. There's a version for free on YouTube. You can get a physical copy overseas. But as it stands, Exile was just a blip on the radar, just TV fodder for born 90s teens. Again, if you want to check it out for free, it's on YouTube. I watched the version with all the TV commercials still intact, which I do recommend. Again, if you have no life. What other obscure Corey Feldman movies should I rant about next? I have a few in mind. I was thinking of doing a watch along or something soon, so please be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell to stay updated on all that kind of stuff. Leave me a comment down below. I do want to hear from you guys. I do like talking about these old Corey Feldman movies and whatnot, but this particular episode would have made for a good installment of The Not So Wonderful World of Disney, a series I do where I focus on these movies. So I plan on doing some more of those, a lot more music stuff coming, live streams, all of that. Get yourself a t-shirt. All the links down below in the description. Staunch gang, don't get marooned on an island with Corey Feldman, please.